What's up YouTube, Pewsily here, coming at you with Infernity Xyz combos. I'm just going to be running through different hands that I've had in the past and thought that the combos came out pretty cool. A quick note on this, I don't think of the deck as, in terms of combos, I don't sort of look at a hand and think, oh, how can I do combo number 1, or how am I going to get combo number 3? I just look at the hand and think, what's the best that I can do with this? How can I search as many barriers as possible and keep them live? In the past format before Shockmaster was banned, I might have looked at my hand and gone, how can I make a Shockmaster? Because that was just such an amazing play, because generally you're going to have Shockmaster with an Archfiend backed by barriers, so it's almost impossible to get over. But obviously now that it's banned, I'm just sort of looking at it thinking, how can I put as much damage on the board as I can if I'm going for an OTK, or how can I put as much control on the board as I can while keeping my cards live? So I don't think of it in terms of I'm going to do combo Z, or I'm going to do combo X or combo Y. I just purely look at my hand and think, what shenanigans can I do? So this is a hand that I've genuinely come across before. That's what they will all be while I've just been playing around with the deck. And I wrote it down because it looked like there were lots of different things you could do. Just turns out the one that I did was pretty cool. So just in case you can't see the cards properly, what we've got: Infernity Break, Archfiend Palabyrinth, Instant Fusion, Transmodify, Infernity Necromancer, and Infernity Archfiend. So here we go. Summon the Archfiend, pay 1,000 and special summon a level 4. It can be any level 4, you don't have to have a specific one. Overlay for Larval Chain. Now you need to detach the Archfiend here, of course, so that you've got it for later, and you're going to send a Street Patrol from your deck to your grave. Banish the Street Patrol, so it's banished from your graveyard to special summon the Necromancer. Activate the Palabyrinth, and you're going to set these two. So keep them face up so you know what they are. Now use this guy's effect to bring back your Archfiend, and he's going to get a search. At this point, I go for Launcher, which you're just going to activate, so it's out of your hand. Now you're going to Transmodify, Tribute the Necromancer, and you're going to special summon another Archfiend from your deck, and his effect is going to get you another Necromancer. Now you overlay these two, this is in hand still, for Larval Chain number 2, activate his effect to send the second Stygian Troop Patrol, which is why the second one is so important. I've even contemplated 3, but I really don't want to put the monster count up. Then just immediately use this guy's effect, banish him, to special summon your in-hand Necromancer. And his effect is going to special summon the one Archfiend that you have in the graveyard. And his effect, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can search a barrier or an Archfiend at this point, a Necromancer at this point. And I found the best way is to search a barrier, just because of the way it works out. So you then set the barrier. I just had a brain fart there. I thought I'd done it wrong, but no, I haven't. So you haven't used the effect of your Palabyrinth. Now what this is going to let you do is you can target a level 4 Archfiend, so this guy, banish another Fiend, this guy, to special summon an Archfiend from your deck, this guy. So you're going to get another Infernity Archfiend. Now his effect activates, gets you barrier number 2, and you overlay your 2 Archfiends for Diamond Direwolf, and his effect essentially is just going to destroy himself and the Larval Chain that you have with the Archfiend under it. This is just to clear up space. It's much like the Shockmaster Leviair Direwolf combo that you've had in previous formats, just to clear up space so that you get most value out of this. You then send off your Launcher to bring back 1 Archfiend and 1 Necromancer. You get 1 search, and then you can use the effect of your Necromancer to get back another Archfiend, and you get another search. So the end result is this: 3 barriers, 2 breaks, 3 monsters on the field. This guy's at 2,300. You have a nice fully loaded graveyard to use this guy's effect again, but the key point here is you have all this back row to protect you, and you're going to be swinging for game next turn. Reason for that is this guy's going to bring back another Archfiend, and you have these guys in attack. This is 2-3, 500, 1-8, 2-3, and you can obviously make a cowboy, but yeah, that's how that combo works out. So I'll do another hand for you now. By the way, obviously, if you're going through and you see something better that you do with all these hands, comment down below. Let me know, because, this is Infernity. Like I've said, there aren't any real combos. and there's usually better ways that you can do things, or different ways to do things, that might end up perhaps with more monsters but less back row maybe. But yeah, that's number 1. Okay guys, so right here we have hand number 2, which is going to be very similar to some of the plays we were able to make pre-Shockmaster ban, only now they have a different twist on them rather than going for all out control. It's actually a lot more of an aggressive play now. So you have your Rotor there. It could be Rotor or Dark Grepher, doesn't matter, as long as it gets you the Dark Grepher. So you're obviously going to summon that bad boy. Use effect, discard your Stygian Street Patrol in hand to send the obvious Archfiend to the graveyard. So it's going to leave you with these 4 left in hand. These 2 could be any cards as long as they're settable. In this case, just 2 traps, and then Transmodify and Archfiend. Necromancer, sorry. This doesn't necessarily have to be a Transmodify either, but it just leaves plays open for future turns as well if it is the Transmodify. So, going on from here, you're then going to banish your Street Patrol in the grave to special summon the Necromancer, set these 3, and special summon the Archfiend from your graveyard, searching out another Necromancer. From there, you're going to go ahead and overlay for the only Lava Chain effect. Make sure you detach the Archfiend, and you're going to send Stygian Street Patrol number 2 to the graveyard. So there's number 2. His effect you're going to banish to special summon the in-hand Necromancer, and his effect to bring back the first Archfiend. So currently your field's looking like this. This guy's effect then, it's going to search out for you an Archfiend. So he's now in hand. These 2 Necromancers have both been used up, so you're going to overlay those for a Leviair. As soon as I grab one. There we are. So that's your Leviair. Using his effect, detach the Necromancer to bring back the Stygian Street Patrol. So here, like you can see, it's pretty much the same play as if we'd have had a Shockmaster. You're going to go ahead and you're going to Direwolf, targeting the Direwolf and the Leviair to free up room. So you now have a Stygian Street Patrol in your graveyard again, which you're going to go ahead and banish to special summon the in-hand Archfiend there. And the reason for doing that is it gets you your launcher, and it sets your grave up, and it gives you space on the field. So you're going to play the launcher, send it off to special summon your 2 Necromancers there. So now your field's looking like this with 2 unused Necromancers. The first Necromancer's effect is going to bring back the Archfiend that's in your graveyard, and you get a search for that bad boy, which will go ahead and be a barrier. Now, this is where this comes in handy. You're going to Transmodify to special summon another guy, which is going to search you another barrier. So now your field's looking like this. Pretty tasty already, you must admit. Now, here is where I like to mix things up a bit and get a lot more aggressive. So normally you'd be going for the Shockmaster play pre-ban list here. Going to go into Lava Chain, ditching the new Archfiend Heiress, which will then search out the Palabyrinth, which is the sole reason why you don't have to have the Transmodify, because you can Palabyrinth away a Necromancer, but it doesn't particularly matter. So there you are, you have that. You now have room as well for your second Necromancer, which hasn't been used, to bring back Archfiend, and from there you can either search your third barrier, or personal preference, I like to there go for the break, just so that you can clear out back row. So having the break there gives you the flexibility to actually get rid of something. So there we are. What you'll be able to do from there, turn 2, let's say you've broken a back row that they've set. You then can use the Lava Chain to dump anything, it really doesn't matter, detaching your 1 remaining Archfiend, and you can then use the Palabyrinth, banishing this to special summon back the Archfiend and get another search if you wanted to. But that's another wombo play there. That's very, very aggressive, as you can see there. You've got, from this alone, more than enough a game, because he's at 2-3, he's at 2-3, they're both at 1-8, and you've got Cowboy. And then obviously your back row protecting everything. Like I said, these could be anything as long as you can set them. They could be MSTs or anything at all like that. So that's another one. Hope you're getting the gist. Okay, YouTube, so we have hand number 3. This one's actually going to be more of an example of what happens when you don't open Amazing, but how with some creative thinking, thinking outside of the box really, and not always using cards to their maximum value means that you're still going to get a lot of mileage out of them. I mean, for instance, with this hand you've got your Bottomless Trap Hole, your Palabyrinth, you've got your Launcher, which you'd normally want to get for maximum pluses, your Transmodify, Heiress, and Archfiend. With this hand I would actually normally recommend a passive turn 1, So you can, for instance, set the ARS and the bottomless. So your ARS is going to get destroyed, you get a search. And then hopefully, as long as you've drawn something that you can set, you should be able to perhaps go off next turn. However, if in some circumstances, if you wanted to go off, for instance, if you're very close to time or you're in time in game 3 and you wanted to go off, there are ways that you can do it without always thinking about how you're going to get maximum value out of a card like Launcher. You still get to use it, but you're not going to get the maximum pluses off of it that you'd want. And even in that sense, it's still a good card. So here's what I would do. Okay, so you go ahead and activate your Infernity Launcher to discard the Arc Fiend from your hand. And then you're going to normal summon your ARS. Activate your Palabyrinth, and these are all in your spell and trap card zone. So you're going to go ahead and use Transmodify, send the ARS to special summon an Archfiend. Archfiend's effect then is going to search for you a barrier, because barrier is too good. So from there you want to go ahead, fire off your launcher for your next Archfiend. Just going to search your Necromancer to your hand. And from there, you want the good old Larval Chain, too strong, detach one, to send a Stygian Street Patrol to the grave. And of course, banish the Street Patrol straight away for the Necromancer in hand. Necromancer's effect is going to bring out the other Archfiend in grave for you, which is then going to go ahead and search for you barrier number 2. Now, you haven't used your Palabyrinth over here. It's always worth remembering that it's there. When I'm playing this deck online and in person, I always forget that you can use this once per turn. You play it and you're like, yeah, big monsters, but you always forget that you can keep coming off. So you're going to banish your Necromancer for Archfiend number 2 and get another search. At this point, I would go for break. Similar reasons as before, so that you're going to have more options really, because just straight up summoning something like a Card Trooper and attacking is going to put in a fair chunk of work for you, because this Larval Chain will be very useful in coming turns. So the break's going to help for something that's just going to be able to straight up attack over you. And obviously 2 barriers is still good. So alright, like I said, that's just an example of how a subpar opening can still provide you with a +2 turn 1 and massive control. So you're still going to be swinging to the fences with these guys anyway. I mean, there you've got, what's that, 6,100 attack on the field? Yeah, 6-1. So, I mean, if you topped a monster, you could potentially take game. I didn't top a monster. There we go. So that's just another example there of how firing off launcher when you don't really want to can still get you results. Okay guys, so this is the last video I'll be throwing at you here. This is a bit of a longer sort of, as I say, combo one, and it's one that actually more highlights how the new support, ARS and Palabyrinth, and even Archfiend's Roar as well, which I've opened with in this one, put in a lot of work, largely to make the deck more aggressive and more able to OTK. Every single time I look at this hand, I think of different things I can do, and it's all because of Summoner Monk. Basically, if you open with Summoner Monk and don't open with like a ton of monsters, you should be winning. So, your 2 monsters you've got here, Summoner Monk and Archfiend. You've got Transmodify and Instant Fusion, and you've got Infernity Break and Archfiend's Roar. Archfiend's Roar is actually quite nice in a lot of these combos, because it means that even if you don't do a huge amount, you've still got Archfiend's Roar to push for game next turn. But with this one, you're actually able to pull off an OTK as well. So I'll go through and show you. And again, it involves thinking a little bit ahead and a bit outside the box. So just going to go ahead here, summon your Summoner Monk. Here you want to discard your Instant Fusion, because the Transmodify is much better for you here, and your Summoner Monk's going to bring out Armageddon Knight, and Armageddon Knight is going to dump a Stygian into the grave. So you want to set these 3 bad boys so that your Archfiend's going to get to do stuff. Banish your Summoner Monk to special summon your Archfiend, and he's going to go ahead and search a Necromancer for you. So what you want to do here is overlay the Summoner Monk and the Archfiend, because you need the Archfiend in the graveyard and Summoner Monk is in defense, so it's less useful. Into Larval Chain, detach your Archfiend to send Stygian number 2, and then banish Stygian number 2 to special summon the Necromancer that you've searched. And you're going to go ahead and use his effect to bring back your Archfiend, and Archfiend there is going to search a launcher. Now at this point you want to use your Transmodify, tribute your Necromancer, and bring out another Archfiend, and you start searching for barriers now. Oh, sorry, I used the wrong one there. That's gone instead. So you've got your barrier now. Now at this point you want to overlay the Armageddon Knight and the Archfiend for Larval Chain number 2. Detach the Archfiend, and you're going to send this to the graveyard, the Heiress. Heiress will trigger and get your Palabyrinth, so you're going to start making your Archfiends bigger. Now you've got the perfect launcher targets in here, so you're going to fire launcher off to special summon the Necromancer in attack mode, and you're going to special summon your Archfiend as well. So you've now got 5 monsters on the field. Necromancer's effect triggers, getting you Archfiend's effect triggers, getting you another barrier there. So you can see already how you have game on the field, but how you can keep going because you haven't used this. So you can overlay these two for Larval Chain number 2, using its effect to send the last Archfiend to the graveyard, and then you use your unused Necromancer to bring back the Archfiend, searching your final barrier. So I have to zoom out for this one, but there you are. There's your final thing. So you've got 18, 18, 500, 18, 2, 3, 3 barriers, a break, and back up for next turn. So that's just a show of how cards like this have helped to make everything much more aggressive. From this point, if you wanted to, you could even go ahead and banish your Necromancer to bring back this from the grave. You don't even need to search because there's nothing you can do with it. So there you go. That's horrible. And like I say, that's an OTK because 2-3, 2-3 basically. Hands like that are scary, yo. You don't even need to search with an Archfiend. So yeah, there we are. That's showing off a little bit of the new support and showing how you can think outside the box to come up with new things every single time. As I've mentioned before, if you do have any different ways of doing some of the things I've done, or if you spotted potentially better play, do feel free to comment. I'm sure other people will want to see them as well. And as always, guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and take care, everybody.